Hi guys, welcome. It's a miracle. Mila Kunis just appeared out of nowhere after you watched this great movie. It should always be this way,
Ta-da!
Mila. Ta-da! Let's give it up one more time just because she's here. She's cheating on her own premiere. Mila Kunis.
Thank you.
Welcome to a very special 92NY edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Mila's a first-time guest on the podcast. Despite our many conversations, we're gonna both cry by the end of this. We're gonna go deep.
Do you think so?
No.
Oh God,
not.
my mascara.
Congratulations, though, on the movie. I mean, this is a unique circumstance for this film, which is going to be on Netflix, and you know, you're now in front of a crowd that's seen it in an actual movie venue.
How archaic.
I know, right? It's going the way of the dinosaur. But I don't know. I mean, this is an intense one, to say the least. Do you get a different kind of satisfaction from something like this than from a Bad Moms, from the comedies we've talked about over the years? I mean, is it a different kind of thing
No,
for
it's
you?
the same. There's an ego that comes with filmmaking, and if anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. You want to entertain people, and what entertainment comes in, it comes in multitude of forms, right? I love making people laugh. I love any form of escapism. This film included. I mean, I don't think that you're gonna walk out of it being like, what a popcorn movie of the summer. But I think that you'll walk out of it with hopefully, with some sort of feeling or emotion or, you know, a desire to have a conversation, or maybe you rethought something. Whatever it may be, it's something new and different that you didn't walk in with.
This character, I mean, I can see from the outside looking in, I'm sure this audience would agree, why this would appeal. There's a lot of juicy stuff for this character. We often hear narration in a film, but often it's like, and you know this better than anybody, it's often like a patchwork.
Exposition?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
of course.
just to mask something.
To help move the story along. Yeah.
This is integral. This is obviously part and parcel of the storytelling, and it really defines your approach to the character. Did that jump off the page as soon as you read the script?
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. I think oftentimes people, not oftentimes, but a lot of times people go like, why did you make this movie? That is like the standard question for a lot of things. And especially when it came to this one, people were like, what made you want to make this movie? And I was like, well, you know, there's a lot of films out there, well, not a lot, but there's a handful of films out there where it's a woman who ...
Right.
And I didn't want to make just another it's a woman who ... film. And to me, what makes this one incredibly special and why I chose to do is because two things. It is based on the writer's life, loosely based on the writer's life, so there's an element to it that you can't argue. You can't say that can't happen, that would never happen, that's not how it would happen. It is how it happened, that is what happened.
Right.
And to me, that was really important. And then the other part of it is the writer who wrote the book, who this is based off of, also wrote the screenplay. And her voice is incredibly specific. Like, I think about it, this is her first screenplay that she's ever written. She's got amazing books out there that have all been on the New York Times bestseller list. But she's got a very specific cadence and a very specific tone. And a lot of it has to do with this voiceover element that she brings in that's not exposition.
So we're not going to go too much into spoilers because some of the audience at home hasn't seen the movie, the people listening to the podcast haven't seen it. So we're going to talk a little bit generally, but...
My bad.
No, we're good. We haven't spoiled anything. It's all good.
Okay.
But you mentioned one of the key points, I think, which is that's very unusual that the writer is the screenwriter.
It's never going to happen. The fact that it happened today with Netflix, I mean, that is a lot of people taking rightful risks. I mean, but nonetheless, this is not the norm, no.
So are you the type of actor, do you go to the writer with a ton of questions? Because you have the director as a resource always, of course. You also, but this is a unique case, as you said, because of the writer's ownership of the material. Is that helpful for you as an actor, or do you just kind of go off like the script as it's locked, hopefully, and go there?
No, so we changed the ending drastically from the film. Not drastically, but I would say we modernized it. And when I read the original script, I was like, I love this, but let me talk to you a little bit more. Since you wrote the script, since you wrote the book, what other evolutions have you gone through that we can implement in this character, that we can jump 6 to 7 years and make it more relatable to today, not as relatable to 7 years ago? And so I would say I ask a lot of questions when I think, I ask a lot of questions.
We all have trauma in our past. Thankfully, not as much, most of us, as the character, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
As this character. And I know you don't necessarily relate on the specifics of this, thankfully. But, you know, many actors I've talked to talk about the first approach in playing somebody is to find the commonality, not the differences, but where
Exactly.
they connect.
Yeah.
So where do you connect here?
Well, I mean, to your point, I think we've all had, I wouldn't even call them obstacles, but we've all had road bumps. You know what I mean? Like, we've had something in our life that we can always pinpoint at being like, that moment changed my opinion on such, or this moment made me realize this, or here I could have made a different. We all have it. We all have forks in the road.
Right.
Always, whether we acknowledge them or not. And I think for me, I clearly acknowledge all of them. But there's, for me, I think being an immigrant was a big part of this. Like the code switching, the understanding of the why do we code switch? I don't have social media. So for me, it would never be relatable to have to put on a persona other than who I am, because I don't have that. So that I won't relate to. But what I do relate to is the idea of like assimilation and there's a lot of elements to it. So that to me, but also like you make choices throughout life, and you remember those, especially the ones that you did not well.
Your interior monologue, my guess is, based on our past conversations, and part of why I've always loved talking to you, is you feel pretty unfiltered and honest, not in an obnoxious way, because it can go a little dark with some people sometimes if they literally have no capacity to control themselves.
I grew my filter, so thank you.
Oh, you've been cultivating the filter.
Yes. I'm knitting it. I'm crocheting my filter as we speak.
Is it safe to say that was always Mila? Like if
Yes.
5-year-old Mila was like that? Yeah.
Yes, but this is the best case scenario me. Okay, so I want you to know, if my parents were here, they'd be like, listen, I think everyone needs a little filter.
Sure.
Not all of our thoughts need to be heard. We just don't. We're not all that smart. And so I, in my youth, probably had less of one, but not for any reason other than I didn't realize that I needed one.
Right.
And so I would say, my late 20s, I was like, I really need to stop talking so much.
Did you go through like media training when you were a kid?
Do I need to though?
No, I have someone I can recommend. No.
No, I've never had media training.
So when like that 70s show happens, you're suddenly like, this career is jump-started and you're the focus of a lot of attention.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like sink or swim, like I'm just gonna be a teenager and just say what I feel
But that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like I think I was always a pretty good kid. Like I was a really good kid. I, was responsible because I loved what I did so much. I never wanted to lose it. And I desperately fought to act. My parents, probably to this day, would be like, doctor? I'm an immigrant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this is not the career that they moved to America for. But I was just always like, I loved going to work, and I never wanted to jeopardize that. So that being said, it all kind of was, I was never that obnoxious. I never needed that much handling or.
There was never like the asshole year, like if I had met you at like 21, like, oh, she's going
It depends
through.
who you ask. I'm gonna say no. But ask my parents, they'll be like 12 to 22. I don't think so.
Okay,
I really
good.
don't think so. But you should ask them my co-stars. I'm sure they'll have some good stories.
Right.
And my
Roll the
husband.
tape.
Start
No,
with
just
my
kidding.
husband. That's a good one. People like last week.
Yeah. It was a Thursday. No. So, look, I feel like the legend of the upbringing, the immigration story of Mila Kunis it is a legend by now. But for those that don't know, when and where, how did you come to our fair country?
Sure.
At what age? Give us a little bit of the background.
Well, I'd like to say, I think a lot of us here are immigrants at some point.
Yeah.
Come from immigrants. So I don't think that my story is that special or unique, but it is just one of many. How'd I come here? Well, I didn't have much choice. I was 7.5, and my parents lied to me and told me that we were moving down the street. Well, thank you for laughing, guys. Talk about something to remember.
Yeah. This is a long street we're walking down.
To a very long street. And we got on a train, and I was like, well, this is not moving down the street. And then we arrived in this country called what is now known as Russia. Before then, it was just all imagine USSR. So we arrived in Moscow, and I went to the embassy, the American embassy, and you go into this lotto of whether you get chosen that day or not, and if you don't get chosen, you don't come. And let me preface, we came here on a religious refugee visa. Okay, so you get in this lotto, you do the thing, we didn't get chosen, we didn't get chosen, we didn't get chosen. We were there for like 16 hours. I think my parents tell the story, like I started getting antsy and hungry, and I took a walk down the hallway. I happened to have wandered into the woman's office that ultimately was gonna make this decision. And I was like, I'm so hungry, do you have any candy? And she was like, I guess she struck up a conversation with me. I don't have any recollection of this, according to my parents. I walked out of the room and I said, this lady needs to see you. I'm so sorry. I think I said something wrong. And they were like, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know. So we walked in there, and long story short, she was like, welcome to America.
Wow. And
then it got really hard, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it always starts with candy. They lure you in with the candy.
Yeah, get in with the candy.
Your connection to the Ukraine over the years, has it vacillated in terms of like your own personal connection, how you felt connected? Because obviously now we all feel much more connected in the last couple of years. But talk to me about just, I mean, did you go back at any times?
I went back once.
Okay.
So I went back 4 years ago, let's say 4 or 5 years ago. My husband and I went back with my parents. I was shooting in Budapest at the time, and I was like, well, we're pretty damn close. Should we go? And he was like, yeah, let's go. So my parents flew down, we went to my little town, and we landed, and everyone looked at me as if I was gonna be like, have some, you know, cathartic, some sort of emotion, and I went, well, this is nice. I mean, nothing, right? Like, you know, I've said this in interviews recently, but I very much assimilated to America. Yeah. Like, I consider myself that. Like, there's no question. That being said, I walked the streets, and I was like, ooh, I suddenly remember this and that. But, like, my heart really was always in the States. Like, that is the country that I was raised in and that gave me my whole life and my family life. Okay, so then said war happens, and that's when everything changed a little bit. But I'll tell you a very quick version of the story. It happened with my daughter and less with me. So my daughter's almost 8 on Saturday. And when all of this happened, Ash and I, we got to figure something out. We did it. We were in the process of doing it. And my daughter goes, there's a war in Ukraine? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, aren't you from Ukraine? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, well, I'm half Ukrainian. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, yeah. And she was so proud. And that's kind of where, I'm getting so teary-eyed. We did cry.
We did. Well, we should say, thanks to that connection, $35 million was raised.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, listen, thank you. That is one of the things that I do want people to understand. $35 million is a lot of money, but it really Band-Aids a problem for a couple weeks. So this isn't one of those magical, you know, potions that solves
like,
anything.
Done, we did it, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
So we were trying to Band-Aid a problem until a country could step in with billions.
There's no proper segue into working with the likes of Hulk Hogan and Rick Moranis.
I know, it's
but
so
we're
good.
gonna try.
I love it. Get it. Amazing.
But you were a child actor in classics like Santa with Muscles and one of the Honey, I Shrunk films.
Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves.
Sorry,
to be exact.
I didn't mean to diminish it.
No, don't worry about it, no big deal.
I don't want to rank the films for you. But what were you, I mean, what was it like to be on set as a kid? Was it, I don't know, did it feel comfortable to you?
Yeah, I loved it.
Really?
Oh my God, I'm such a ham. I'm telling you, I had a very healthy upbringing. I got super lucky. I have really great parents who worked full time. Me acting was never a priority for them. It was a hobby that I begged them to keep. And they were like, cool, you can do this so long as you go to school and graduated from public school, and that's non-negotiable, and go to college. And I was like, okie dokie. And so that's what I did. And I couldn't fail at that, because if I did, I would lose this.
So when did you go, like, when's the transition from feeling like, you know, this is play, this is fun, to like, almost like considering yourself, I'm a real actor? Like
18.
So you know exactly when?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you exactly when I had to go to college.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what I got into college, I worked hard to get into college, and I went, what am I gonna study? Like, I love what I do, and I'm so lucky that I want to do this. What am I going to study? What am I going to learn there that I can't learn through trial and error here? And so I went to my parents, and I was like in tears. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Can I please defer? I promise I'll go back. I just need to defer. And they were like, you know, if you do this, you have to, you know, all that. And I was like, I promise, I promise, I promise. So it wasn't until I was 27 that my dad came to me and was like, look, I've been paying this deference fee. And can we just assume you're not going back? And I was like, I'm not going back.
Amazing. Because you were in the middle of 70s at 18, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's it like to have a constant reminder of like ostensibly your most awkward years always going to be on television? Until the day you die.
Well, I don't watch reruns of 70s for a reason.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of 70s Show in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty good, you should check it out.
You know what, if it's ever, because right now it's always on streamers, I feel like.
Yeah.
If it ever goes back to broadcast and if it comes on, I think I'd watch it.
Not many people have video documentation of the first time they've kissed their eventual partner.
I know. Oh, I know. Is that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
And further context for this was obviously way before they were actually an item and he was acting, of course.
I know. I was 15 and he was 20.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I know. I know. Guys, that was so long ago.
So after 70s, in terms of the acting, did you have a sense of what you wanted to do? Did you feel like the industry had plans for you? Did you have plans for it? Like what?
I had plans to pay my bills and make a living, because that's what I promised my parents I would do. So I did not, in 70s, being like, I'm so entitled to all these awesome things. I was like, I will audition, and I will get what I get, and I don't get upset. And that's how I did it.
Were you a good auditioner? Did you?
I think so, because I've auditioned since I was 9. It is definitely a very specific art skill.
Right.
So yes, I would say I was probably at that point a pretty good auditioner. And I also didn't go into it with an ego where I was like, I'm entitled to offers. I was clearly on that show over there. Not at all. I was like, I will audition. I will prove everybody wrong, because I was gonna say remember, but it's not like you were there. But 20 years ago, right? The industry was very different than it is today. And if you were on TV, you stayed on TV.
Yeah.
And if you were in movies, you stayed in movies, and the two never intersected. And I was like, I'm gonna go and do some movies. And everyone was like, you should really stay in television. And I was like, nope, I'm 22. Or 21, whatever I was.
Right.
I was like, I am gonna go and like try other things. And so I had to start auditioning for films.
One of the random ones, this is a bit later on, that reportedly...
I can't wait.
It's okay. This is our segue into the Geek conversation.
Oh, sure.
Lois Lane in Man of Steel, you opposite Henry Cavill, you must have looked tiny if you ever screen tested with him.
Never screen tested for it. Never, didn't even know about it.
Okay.
Nope. What's the next one?
Well, I don't have a long list, but it is a segue into the geek side of you, which I remember from our earliest conversations. There was always, it felt like, and it almost feels like dated and vaguely misogynistic at this point.
Sure.
Like, it was like Mila Kunis, girl who likes geeky stuff. She loves Warcraft and Star Trek.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Nowadays, of course, like, we're all allowed to like what we like. But it did feel like you were branded as such, and it became like a talking point.
Yeah. This was so weird. Do you remember Gamergate? Do we call it Gamergate?
Yeah.
Right, so this precedes Gamergate. But it's of the same idea of like, what do you mean a girl likes video games? Prove it.
Right.
You like Star Trek? I'm gonna ask you trivia.
Right.
And I was always like, I can't curse here because you guys are all professionals, but I would get very upset and I was like, oh, hell no. And it drove me crazy. But yes, I did play World of Warcraft. I'm currently creating a card game that lives on Web 3 and Web 2 and a comic book. I like nerdy things. And I liked them before other people liked them. When it was super cool to like nerdy things before Barack Obama called himself a nerd and then everyone was like, nerds are awesome. And I was like, are they though?
Is part of you, like, look, you've done some genre stuff, but the genre stuff hasn't, with all due respect,
you hated it.
That's okay. No, it's not what I was going to say. It hasn't maybe hit in the same way that other things did.
I know.
I was so excited for Jupiter Ascending.
So was I.
I mean, we all were. We all went in with the best of
I'm
intentions.
right there with you, buddy.
Right?
Yep.
For those who don't remember, this is the Wachowskis and Channing, who we love, and Eddie. What's the postmortem on that? Like, when did you know, like, oh, shit, maybe see, now I'm cursing, sorry.
I wish that Channing was here, because that's some good stories. When did we know? Before we started production.
Really?
Yeah, because our production got slashed in half. And so the original budget was twice as much. And you can do a lot more with a lot more money. And oftentimes those types of scripts have a very good storyline, but extraordinary other things.
Yeah.
And right before pre-production, for a multitude of reasons, studios and all these other things, budget got cut, and movie was different.
Do you have a favorite, so you're talking about being into games, but like franchise going right now? Like if the next like Marvel, DC, Potter, whatever, like what's the one that gets you excited nowadays? Fast and Furious?
Okay, well, I guess, I love Fast and the Furious.
I knew it.
No
I
irony.
knew it.
I really genuinely do. How did you know that I love
I don't
Fast
know.
and the Furious? I've seen all of them.
I feel
all
like,
of them.
I honestly feel like you're a natural for that. I'm kind
My
of shocked
friend
they haven't come to
produces
you.
it, and I've always made the joke, I was like, I'm just gonna pop in the background, and you won't even know it. Okay, so I do love Fast and the Furious, guys, don't judge.
No.
What do I love right now? Well, I'll say Harry Potter, but only because my daughter and I are reading the first book together.
Right.
So I can't wait to show her the movie. I don't know, I don't know if that answers it. So Harry Potter, and then, okay, wait, so is this, it's not a franchise, but I'll tell you what I'm excited for the next season is The Boys.
Yeah? Yeah?
Right? So, okay, if that's genre,
Absolutely
maybe that's
is.
what I'm really most excited about is for the next season, because I think it's so smart.
Very smart. Also smart, also kind of a genre film, and I want to show a clip, is Black Swan. Come on.
Okay.
The great we were talking backstage about the great Darren Aronofsky. We all
Yeah.
love and worship all his
Yeah.
films, even if they disturb us to our dying day, in the best possible way. But this was a big moment for you, for Natalie, for everybody involved.
Sure.
Let's start with the clip, and then let's talk on the other side, okay?
Okay.
Here's a little clip from Black Swan.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Oh my god, wait.
I love it. For the record, the only person that laughed snorted through that clip was Mila herself watching it.
Because I saw how young Nat and I looked, and I was like, oh my god. That's why I started laughing, because we look like, I look younger. Nat looks she hasn't aged, okay? She
Stop
looks
it.
amazing. Not a day has gone by.
See, there's that filter. It's kicked in.
Is it working?
You're doing great.
Thank you.
You said before, though, that there's like essentially a whole different version of
Yes.
the film or the character. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because Darren and I shot it. Well, Darren shot it in such multiple ways that, was she real? Was she not real? That whole, conversation that he ended up putting it together. So it's a lot of Darren in the edit bay.
Did it feel like a change, like personally, in terms of the kind of material you were getting, how you were perceived? Did it feel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Huge. I mean, there was like two staples in my career, and they were oddly, I would say close to back, that changed people's perspective, I think, as to like the idea of a TV actor and then be a person who can do comedy.
Right.
And it was Forgetting Sarah Marshall and then Black Swan.
So
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Well, here's the thing about Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which was a hit at the time, but
Weren't you with us in Hawaii for the press?
I actually wasn't, but I
Oh.
appreciate you thinking I was. I was there in spirit. I would have liked to have been. Couples retreat, I was there. You weren't there for that one.
No, I wasn't. That was K-Bell.
But that film has even grown in estimation. Like, I don't know if you've gotten that, like
It's
you
sweet.
sense that, right?
Well, only because I have like 16, 17-year-olds coming to me and being like, I love Sarah Marshall. And I was like, cute, you weren't born when I shot it.
I mean, you've done a bunch of great comedies, and there's one that's in particular fascinating because it's, and Ashton, I think, spoke about this recently, Friends with Benefits versus
Oh,
No
yeah.
Strings Attached,
Yeah.
which, if
We
you
were
look,
better, but it's no big deal.
I was gonna say, wow, well, you answered my question. Objectively speaking.
Yeah, we were, I mean, obviously.
Have you seen his?
Yeah, of course.
just
His
checking.
little naked butts in it, it's all cute.
How insane did Ted seem at the time when Ted came around?
Oh my God. Absolutely ridiculous. But it was, yeah, right? Like, what a weird movie that was. There's a talking bear. Okay. Like, it was, by the way, Seth should talk about this at some point, but I'll hijack the story. He was casting it for a while before Wahlberg signed on, right? But even once Wahlberg signed on, he was casting other women, and he kept coming to me during recordings and be like, okay, who else? I need someone else. Because it took a while for a talking bear movie to get made.
Weird.
What, right? And I kept throwing out names. I was like, what about that person?
Right.
She's a great actress. What about that person? She's a great actress. And then all of a sudden, I started getting older and older and older. And in Hollywood, I now can play opposite Mark Wahlberg magically. And he was like, well, would you want to do it? And I was like, I mean, yeah, okay. But at that point, I already went through like a year of casting with him, through like a smoke, you know what I mean? Like by like watching it. But yeah, it was a movie about a talking bear.
So speaking of Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
a mutual friend, I hit up Mark. He sent something in. Should we take a look?
Is that for real?
This is for real.
Yes. What?
Did you bring your bunny rabbit?
It's not a bunny rabbit, it's a teddy bear. Look at this teddy bear. Love and respect, Mila. We love you. You're the best. You're the best. Bevernice. It's a teddy bear. My fucking talking fucking teddy bear. Oh, shit. We're here in Slovenia. Wishing you nothing but the best, Mila. You're the bae. Josh, make sure you give her the proper information that I gave you yesterday. God bless.
That's very cool.
He's kind of the best.
I love Mark. I
Yeah.
think Mark and I have done 2 movies together.
Yeah, 3 technically. I don't
Oh,
think
3.
you didn't share a scene in Date Night,
Yeah,
right?
we
Or-
did 3 movies together, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Mark.
Yeah.
I see him driving sometimes and we like chit chat and I'm like, how are the kids? He's like, how are the kids? And I was like, our lives really changed.
It's fun to go through those people with those people on the journey, right? To like check
Oh my
in
God,
with
when you
folks.
work with awesome people, there is no, I genuinely love Mark. Like, I think he's a great human being. You can't beat it.
Yeah. You mentioned, of course, your collaborations with Seth. We haven't mentioned Family Guy, which is like the best gift
I
any
know.
actor should ever receive.
Guys, I agree. I agree. I texted Seth the other day. We were recording season 21. I don't know. And I was like, please tell me that there's more to come. And he goes, well, I hope so. Did you hear something? I was like, well, I didn't, but I just didn't hear anything from you. So I just want to double check that this is still, like, I love
Yeah.
this job.
What's the strangest? You must get recognized for your voice in strange circumstances at times.
Well, so COVID, right? There's the mask thing that I'm a big fan of. So
Samesies, yeah.
I mean, for a multitude of reasons, also like science. But I love it because it's a nice, you know.
For celebrities, it was an added benefit.
Oh,
yeah.
God bless it. But if I spoke,
Right.
so everywhere I went, my husband's like, stop talking.
Well, it doesn't help. He's like 9 feet tall. He
Yeah, like,
stands
by the
out.
way, you look like you stand out. I'm like the tiny person next to you who's like, meh, 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 meh.
I hit up another person. They didn't send a video, but I got some Sam Heughan, who
Oh, yes, for sure. Oh,
We-
Sam.
we love our Sam Heughan, who he did, of course, The Spy Who Dumped Me
Yes.
with. And I asked him what his recollections were of making.
I'm so afraid what his answer is going to be. It was in Budapest. Okay, go
It was
ahead.
in Budapest, and he chastised himself. He said that he didn't really go out partying with you guys because he was trying to be really like serious.
But with Kate and I, yeah.
But he did recall being in an escape room with you guys.
Yeah.
And that you were the only one that could do anything, basically.
I mean, I'm not sure, but I like that story.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty good at them. I'm not like great. Like, I wouldn't be like, there's an apocalypse, take me and I'll break you out. Like, don't do that.
Okay.
But yeah.
So it's more about their ineptitude than your
I mean-
prowess.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
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 Some random stuff for you. What are the TV tastes at home? You and Ashton share TV shows?
Yeah.
Do you silo into different rooms? What happens?
We don't silo.
Yeah.
We share TV shows. We also fall asleep very early. So our
this is
ability
late.
to consume, huh?
This is late for you tonight.
Oh my God, last night. Well, yes and no, because I'm still on
yeah.
LA time.
Yeah, yeah.
So but I woke up at 9 a.m. today and I was like, look at me sleeping in. And my husband was like, babe, you woke up at 6 a.m. And I was like, So because we go to sleep early, we don't really watch as much television as probably an average person. So I would say everything we watch is together except for one show. Well, one show plus some sports.
Okay.
So football, the football season, there's
Yeah.
a lot of football content.
It is.
I don't need to procure all of it, you know?
Right.
So he goes, it's just on in the background. So
Yeah.
he doesn't go anywhere, it's just there.
Right.
And then he hates that I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Don't give me a pity clap, guys. It's fine. I have no shame. I've talked about it openly. It's the one show that I watch when he like has to work late or whatever, and I'm oddly like, finally, like I can catch up on Housewives.
Right.
So that's that. And then, okay, so here's what we watch together.
Yeah.
The Boys.
Aforementioned, yes.
House of Dragons,
Nice.
right? Okay. The end. You know what we watched? We just finished was All the Murders in the Building.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And then as far as like content that we procure, I love cults.
Okay, just to clarify,
Said no
I'm helping
one
you
ever.
out. Yeah.
Like, I love
Shows about cults. You don't like
documentaries
being
about
involved in
cults.
cults. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
gosh, okay. See, that's
to
where
help
my
you.
filter
Yeah.
would come in handy. Let's rewind. So funny you should ask. What I really like to procure is documentaries about cults.
Right. What's your favorite, again, not cult that you want to take part in, but favorite story of
Like
a cult?
a cult that I mean, we can always go
Like there
with
was
like.
the Nexium stuff. That was
Oh, I
fast-
love
that was
Nexium
great.
for years.
I know.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah. Did they try to
Let me
recruit
like
you?
think
Did
about
they-
let me think about my filter. I'll tell you. Okay, so no, they didn't try to recruit me. I wish. God, that would make the story way better. See, now you're gonna be really disappointed.
it's okay.
Okay, so Allison Mack, I
Yes.
used to audition against, and we were sitting down in the office. I want to say 7 years ago. And my manager and I were just talking about like different actors that I used to audition against when I was like 14, right? 11, 12, 13, 14. And I was like, I wonder where they're at now. Like, where are half these people? So I started Googling some of the actresses that I used to audition against, one of them being Allison Mack. And I Googled her and I was like, what is this Nexium thing? And I started watching the videos on YouTube. This is before anything was
Right.
on the news. And I was like, yo, she's in a cult. and so I
Are you actually
started
talking to the TV? I'm imagining you like just literally talking to your
I mean,
computer.
I wish. I was more like, Cammy, she's in the cult. And so then I started like reading about the cult.
Yeah.
Then I pseudo forgot about it.
Then all the
and
shows
then
came.
all the things happened. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I know this one. But the one that I didn't know about, that I learned about is the Moonies.
Sure. Yeah.
See, and I
That's
didn't know
old
about
school.
that. So that's like
yeah.
my new favorite one that I just find to be fascinating.
Great tips. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, high quality content.
You have been nominated for 17 Teen Choice Awards, but you've never won.
Yeah, I'm the Susan Lucci of
was gonna
Teen
say,
Show. Yeah, I
you
know.
stole
I
my
knew where the joke was going.
Any
Where's
bitterness?
my surfboard? I married into a winner, so
Oh, he
I
must
have
have- he
some
must have a
surfboards.
few, yeah,
he has a
right?
couple. He, had six-pack abs, so he got some.
Right. Have you ever sung on film? Are you a singer?
Oh, oof. Okay. So oftentimes people are like, oh my God, I can't sing. And then they like sing and you're like, you're such a good singer. I am awful. So when I tell you I cannot sing, it's not fishing for a compliment. It's not me trying to be cute. I truly cannot sing. I sang once on film and it got cut out. And that little movie is called Ted. And McFarlane made me sing and I was going to kill him.
So you never did the Cats audition, the Les Mis, just to try it. It was so hot. the
God, I
musicals.
mean, when I tell you, by the way, I think I'm awesome. Like, I want you to know, like,
okay.
I'm a really good, I can hear notes. And I can.
Can you, though?
Well, I can hear when other people are not good.
Okay.
So
yeah.
that's what, that means I can, like, I
Be on a show, reality, you can be on American
I
Idol
can
and
judge you.
others. Yeah, exactly.
I can judge you well.
Yeah.
But when I sing, I was told it's more like me changing my volume and less me changing notes, whatever those
Yeah,
are.
just more. No, I got
Just
you.
like a louder or quieter.
Sure, it's a note.
I know, guys. It's no, I don't sing.
All right, we got some questions from the audience, so
Boy.
you can't blame me for any of these. I wondered if you'd be interested in a show that you and Ashton would like to star in
No.
together.
You want to ask me again, and I'll take my time.
You have, I mean, this is big news as we tape this. You've been talking about it. You have a very small cameo, you and
Yeah.
Ashton, in the 90s
Yeah.
reboot of that 70s show.
Yeah. It was really hard for me to do.
It was the actual act of doing it.
Yeah. I like acting with my husband and not being like, why are you making that face? Like, I couldn't, like, it's just, I respect people that do it. I really do. And I think that it's incredible that they can work with their partner. For a multitude of reasons, we would never work together. We never work at the same time, so that one of us can always be home with the kids.
Right.
So a technicality, but nonetheless, we would never do it. And then enough people already feel too comfortable to want to like hug and talk to you and like feel like they have an
Yeah.
ownership in you or of you. And poor choice of words. And then you add this, and you just it's too much. So no. But we do a cartoon together.
Right.
Yeah, so we do Stoner Cats together.
Right.
But that's because he's free labor.
Got him around anyway. Might as well use him in some
I
capacity.
mean, he's pretty good, yeah.
Vengeance, by the way, he's excellent in the
He's
BJ's film.
fantastic in
People should
Vengeance.
Check it out.
And then he has his, he did a romantic comedy, which I think we
Right.
all need, and it's so sweet, him and Reese. It's a beautiful romantic comedy.
As you know, it's a couple that has done so much great romantic comedy work over the years. Do you kind of, what's your take on like where we're at? Where like he's made one, thankfully, with Reese,
I know.
but they're very few and far between now.
And
as you
I
know.
had so much envy. I was like, you get to make a romantic comedy, and I just made that movie? I want to see your movie. I was like, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch that. And so yeah, I'm in desperate need to find a really great, amazing romantic comedy.
Rom-com or Fast and Furious or season 2 of House of Dragons? Which one?
Oh my God.
We're all gonna wait. We have nowhere to be.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. House of Dragons season 2.
Let's cast you in each of these. Here we go.
Who am I?
Yeah.
What am I? House of Dragons. Can I be a dragon?
Mocap suit?
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, I'd be a Targaryen. I mean, like,
Well, you threw away Targaryen.
like, you know, whatever. I'd be that. Or Valerian, but I'd rather ride a dragon.
Okay.
So I'm going to choose that for obvious reasons because
Okay.
I get a dragon. So long as my character gets a dragon. Like, I
Got
get the egg hatches, I get my baby dragon, we become friends and homies, and then I ride it.
Got the
and then-
vernacular down. Yeah.
God, I have so many theories about House of Dragons. But okay. Anyways, okay, what was the other one? In
Well, we talked a little on Fast,
Fast and
but
Furious?
you want more than the walk-on background. You want an actual role. You deserve it. You're a 17-time
What-
Teen Choice Award nominee.
God, I want that on a cup. What is it? Q from James Bond?
Oh, you want to be like that?
I
like
wanna
the
be
gadget lady?
Yeah, Gadget Lady. How dare you?
What? You're a lady. and
Gadget Lady. She's like the engineer. Okay, let's give her some credit. I would want to be like the Q of.
Love it.
Okay, what was the third one?
I don't know. What was the third one? Rom-com. And what's the rom-com? Who's your co-star? You don't want Ashton. You're over him.
Oh yeah.
Professionally speaking.
Okay, who's in my
Yeah.
rom-com?
Yeah.
It's a very, and herein lies the question. Here's my agent background going, Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa. No, gosh, I don't know, someone fun and awesome who, I love Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg.
There we go. He sent in a video. You might as well throw him a bone.
I love Mark.
What advice would you give to people in their 20s in New York? I mean, you didn't spend time in New York, but you
I did. I lived in New York in my 20s.
Oh.
Clearly,
They know
you and I
better
were
than
not
me.
friends. It's okay.
Wow. We never talked.
It's no big deal.
So what advice would you give to someone in their 20s in New York?
I'm just going my filter, guys. Wear closed-toe shoes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Have a fan in your apartment at all times, readily available. Stay out late. Walk the city. Have fun, because when you get old, you don't have time to do that.
Excellent. All right, 2 more, and then I release you. She's got a premiere to go to. Like her premiere's
I'm in the
literally
middle
happening,
of
right?
that's happening. So I did it, and now I'm here, and then I have to pretend to go back and sit in the audience and be like, "That was an amazing movie, guys. That was amazing."
Main difference, and this is curious. Back to the film. Do you consider them almost 2 different characters? Like the main difference between Tiffany and Annie. Like what and who is harder to play in a way?
I mean, I think that they're both the same. It's just that one is a persona of the other. Right. So if you look at, call it Tiffany, I think the voiceover in Ani's head when she's older is Tiffany.
Right.
You know, one is the reason why and the other is the outcome. So what's easier, to experience it or to relive it?
There's a thinker. That's a good
Right?
one to go
I mean,
on.
that's-
Yeah,
yeah.
got it. And last one, we'll end a little bit more fun, back to 70s. Did you audition back for your audition for 70s with a co-star, and how many auditions? What was the process?
Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, I've heard of him. What became of him?
Yeah.
What do you remember of the audition? Besides
Oh my
looking
gosh,
well.
I think the first person I saw was Topher.
Okay.
Probably is what I should say. So we did like not anymore. Everything's changed, guys. But you used to audition, you do callback, then you do another callback, then you do a producer call, then a writer call, then a studio call, and then network. You audition a lot. And towards the latter parts of it, Topher was there. And then he got cast, and that's what I honestly remember. And then I had to read with Ashton after I got cast. What did I think? I was like, wow, that's a much older, handsome boy. Like, I was 14, and
Right.
he was 19, and
Yeah.
that's, at that age, a gap. When
Yeah.
you're, 30, 35, who cares? But when you're, anyways, I was like, who? Like, I was like, he was, yeah.
Is it going to just be a one-off, the cameo in 90s?
As of now,
or-
yeah, for the first season, for sure. Honestly, you don't want us in it. The show's not about us, I promise you.
Right.
It's such a great reboot, what they did. And it is, I think fans, if you love 70s, you will love this reboot. If you've never seen 70s and you want to know about the 90s, you'll love it. But it's just, it's the same story. So it's a relationship of these kids. It's like these little misfit kids in
Yeah.
the same basement of the same house with Deborah Jo and Kurtwood Smith going through the 90s. You don't need to see us. We would be a distraction.
We packed a lot into this, from 70s to Wahlberg Love to the serious great piece of work, Luckiest Girl Alive, on Netflix soon, spread the good word, and we even cried. We did it. Mila.
You did it.
We did it
Joshua.
together. We all did it together, guys. Spread the good word. Mila Kunis, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.